I have missed photos because my camera settings were wrong because I had something I just did yesterday and I left it at those settings, and when I picked it up, my camera was not ready for me. So let's fix that. We're going to use memory modes on our camera, and I'm using my Canon R6, and you can see I've got the dial here, the mode dial. You probably have a mode dial as well, no matter if it's Sony, Nikon, Olympus, or Canon, whatever you have, you'll have a mode dial of some sort, and you'll most likely have memory locations. Mine are labeled C1, C2, C3. So to resolve the issue of not having the settings ready and to get to them quickly, we're going to use those memory settings. So I'm going to have three scenarios. Scenario one is going to be, I just want to pick it up and take a photo of my dog. Something close, something easy. I don't need anything fancy. So we'll set that up to C1. C2, I'm going to set up for my wildlife photography, where I like fast shutter speeds, burst mode, and some other settings that I'm going to show you. The third and final one is going to be for my real estate shoots when I do interior photos. Totally different setup for that. I'll show you that. So as I'm going through this, if you have a different scenario, just set your camera up for that scenario and save it to the button or to the dial mode that you want. So let me share my camera and let's talk about just everyday shooting. So right now, everyday shooting, I'm probably going to want an aperture of around maybe 5.0. It's kind of in the middle. I want to keep my ISO on auto because I want it to go fast. I don't want to have to adjust anything. I want it to be self-adjusting, so it's semi-automatic. My drive mode is not what I want right now. Right now it is set to a timer of 2 seconds. So let's pick this up and let's just go to single shot. If you want something different, like I said, pick what you want. And you can see I've got auto white balance. I kind of like auto white balance because I shoot in both JPEG and RAW, so I can adjust the white balance if I need later. But like I said, this is just going to be a pick up and take a shot, so I'm not really going to know what the white balance would be, even if I wanted to set it. So I've got what I want, very simple, nothing complicated here. What we're going to do is turn on our menu. I'm going to first check to see if I have an odd setting that I like to set once in a while. It's my fast shutter speed, you'll see that in a moment. The dash means nothing's set there. So I come here, C1, register setting, it's on C1, and hit OK on that. And now I just save that to C1. Auto update setting, I leave that as disabled because I don't want it to adjust, because if I've got it on my C1 dial and I'm making adjustments, it's going to save it automatically. You might like that, and if you want that, that's fine. So let's set up scenario 2. Let's clear out our menu. Scenario 2 is my wildlife photography. I probably want to want a slight overcompensation of, probably going to want a slight exposure compensation. So I'm going to just nudge that up just two ticks on my dial, which is 2/3 of a stop, and that's fine. I'm going to want a lower aperture because I want as much light as I possibly can get. I'm going to leave ISO and auto for now. Sometimes I adjust that when I'm on scene. Let's come down here. I'm on a single shot. I need faster. I'm going to do burst. Now I have less expensive memory cards in there, so you're going to see it flash when we get done setting it. So let's shut this off and see it's flashing. It's because my memory cards are not fast enough to handle burst, but for this demo, it'll be fine. So let's go to menu. I told you I have another setting that I like to set, and that's over here on the shutter speed range. I want a fast shutter speed for my birds, so I set this to 1/1000. Once I click that, scroll down, click OK. And let's shut this back off and see if I've got everything set here I want. I got a high speed burst mode turned on, white balance. I got my image quality set to large and raw. And to be honest, I never change these. I leave those like that. Well, I take that back. There are some scenarios where I might go to a smaller JPEG, but for today, let's just keep it there. Got my aperture set. I got a little bit exposure compensation going on. Actually, yep, that's what I want. This is for my, and I got a little exposure compensation turned on. So let's now turn our menu back on. Let's find the sea level savings, C1, 2, and 3. This is my bird photography, so that goes on C2, and then click OK. If you're getting value out of this, hit like and subscribe to my newsletter. You'll see it in the description and in the comments down below. All right, so we've got our everyday shooting and we've got our bird photography. Now let's go to making my real estate shoots. So again, let's set up our camera. I'll turn on my Q button. And I do not want exposure compensation this time. So draw that down, but I do want to do something that's called exposure bracketing. So you can see it bracketing now. I'm going to go one stop under, right expose, and overexpose. It'll take 3 shots for me. I want a much higher aperture because I want depth of field. So I'll set that to 9. And I'll leave my ISO and auto because I wanted to be able to take the pictures. I might adjust that if it's a really well lit house, but again, this is my base settings. Again, I leave my image quality on large and raw. It's something I always do. I don't want high speed shoot for my real estate. Matter of fact, I want something that really will surprise you. I want a 2-second timer because I'm going to be on a tripod. There's a couple reasons it's on a 2-second timer. One is there's no camera shake because I'm going to press the shutter and 2 seconds later it starts taking photos. And it's going to take all 3 of my photos because I got the timer turned on. So those are my settings for real estate. So hit my menu again and go back over to check my shutter speed just in case. Yep, it's still turned on. Let's drop this back down to where I want it. It's always good to check settings that you normally mess with, so in case you don't want to save it, right? So let's go back to our menu to save our custom shooting mode, and I'm going to hit register setting 3 and then OK. Now there's a clear setting. If I press this, it asks you which one you want to clear, and you can clear it. I don't see much use in that because if I'm going to create a new setting, I'll just save over top of it. So let's menu our way out of this and hit cancel. So those are my 3 modes. So let me show you real quick. If I take I'm going to take my camera, I'm going to put it, right now it's on aperture priority. If you look at my dial, I am on aperture priority right now. So what's going to happen, I'm going to pick up my camera. I have no idea what I did with it yesterday. I probably forgot. I'm just going to go straight to C1, and voila, I've got f5.0 auto ISO. I'm on aperture priority. I'm on a single shot, and large and raw auto white balance, all set up, ready to go. I'm out taking pictures of my kids. All of a sudden, someone says, look at that eagle over there. I can just flip it to C2. I am a little bit of a boost on aperture compensation. I'm at a high-speed boost. And I bet you if I look at the menu and go over to the shutter range, sure enough, that is turned on. So let's turn our menu off. And hey, let's go take a picture of the interior of a home somewhere. Set it to C3. There's my exposure bracketing. You can see that right off the bat. There's my exposure bracketing and my 2-second timer first, since that's where it came up. But you can see my exposure bracketing, my aperture set to 9.0, and I am an automatic for my ISO. So that's how I use the C1, C2, and C3 to never miss a photo because I can't get to my settings quick enough. I can't remember what I'd set, where, when, why, or how. So C1, C2, C3, figure out what you want to store in them, set it up, and you are good to go. This is Doug Gabbard practicing photography, getting better one photo at a time.